Hello, it's Reviews Day Tuesday. It's time for a new episode of Discworld Discourses, and today I am going to be talking about Thief of Time, which is the 26th book in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, first published in 2001. In this book, which is the fifth in the Death sub-series, a young clockmaker is hired by a mysterious woman to build a perfect glass clock, and young Lopsang Lud is apprenticed to Lutzi, a history monk. Thief of Time is, I think, the first Discworld book that I ever picked up many years ago, because we just randomly had it in our house. It was the only Terry Pratchett book that I had access to for a very long time, but I don't think I got very far into it. I certainly don't remember reading the whole thing at that stage. I think I found it too confusing, and it wasn't until I read it properly as part of the full series that I really enjoyed it. So this reread is the second time of me properly reading the book, but it's the third time that I have picked it up. I would say that it's one of the more complicated Discworld books. It's a book about time and the manipulation of time, and there's a lot of philosophy in it. Characters don't over-explain things, so the reader has a bit of work to do, and I felt like I was sometimes struggling to keep up. And we also have 3 parallel stories going on, which I enjoyed. Although, as with all Discworld books and all Terry Pratchett books, it is full of wit, it's not, I would say, one of the laugh-out-loud Discworld books. So I'd say that between it being one of the more complicated books and also not one of the funniest, it's maybe one of the Discworld books which isn't so rewarding if you're not already invested in the Discworld and the world and the characters. Although I'm sure there are plenty of people who read Thief of Time as their first Discworld book and had a lovely time. I personally wasn't one of those people and wouldn't generally recommend it as being your first foray into the Discworld. Thief of Time, I think, is a great book for characters, and it's one of my favourite things about it. We don't have too many main characters as well, which is very helpful. I was very happy to be back with Susan and Death. I love all of the stuff with Susan's classroom and her teaching methods, and I also really enjoyed the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and Nanny Ogg's cameo as well. I had completely forgotten that she was in this book. I also really like Lopsang Lud as a character. He's one of those one-off characters that I really got involved with. And Lutzi even more so. I love Lutzi as a character. I think he's a great creation. I was less invested in the Jeremy Clarkson part, but by the end of the book I really liked Lady Lejeune and just the whole concept generally of the auditors getting overwhelmed by human bodies. There's some really great stuff in this book. I would say that I never felt like there was a ton of jeopardy. It never felt particularly to me like the world was ending. It was missing for me, you know, that excitement, that wanting to read on all the time. But it was still a good, enjoyable read. I think I enjoyed the book slightly more the last time I read it, but I think that some of my enjoyment last time came from the surprise of suddenly loving the book when I had previously not understood it at all. Whereas this time I knew that it was good and that I liked it, so it didn't have quite the same impact. All that said, I will give Thief of Time 4.1 out of 5. To me it's more of a rewarding read than it is an easy read, but I still think it's a really good read. I'd really love to know what you think about Thief of Time if you have read it. Some facts about this book. This is the final Death book, although he as a character appears in pretty much every Discworld book, but it's our last time with Susan, unfortunately, which I'm sad about because she's one of my favourite female characters in the Discworld series. Thief of Time is the final Discworld book with a cover by Josh Kirby. Marco Soto was named after the winner of a charity auction, who won the chance to have their name used in a Discworld book. If you liked Thief of Time, what should you read next? If you haven't read them yet, I would recommend the previous Death books, especially Reaper Man and Hogfather. If you're up to date though with the Death series, then maybe Nightwatch could be a good place to go because it's another one that plays around with time. If you didn't get on so well with Thief of Time, the next Discworld books are The Last Hero and The Amazing Morris and His Educated Rodents, so they could be both fun places to try. That is it for today. My next Discworld Discourses will be on the 18th of February and I will be reviewing The Last Hero. This is my copy of The Last Hero. I don't think I'll be taking this one on the train. The full list of Discworld books and when I'm planning on reviewing them will be linked in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Let's move across to the end screen. If you'd like to see my latest video or some more Discworld Discourses, then you can do so below me here. And you can also subscribe to my channel or visit my website if you wish to, beside me here. And if you fancy checking out my Patreon page, then the link to that is in the description below. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you soon.